Hey, everybody. Yeah, memory lane, golden earrings. And those guys could rock, I'm telling you. Hey, welcome, everyone. It is Friday, and speaking favor over us all, be of service to others, be service to yourself. And let's see what is going on. It says we're live, so I'm feeling good about it. I don't know about the rest of the things. So, what's up, folks? Hope you're having a good day. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, as they would say. I always thought Mr. Rogers was a little creepy. Hey, John Price, how you doing? Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, the Steiger perspective. Boy, yeah, that one lit a lot of people up, and that was the idea. Trust me, was to get everybody lit up on that one. We got to, folks. It's a what can I say? I want to say a lot, but there's a proverb that says, even a fool seems wise who keeps his mouth shut. So I'll take the wisdom derived from that. So what's up? Hey, David Barry, how are you doing? Good to see you. Hope the kids are all doing good. Kent Cook, good to see you. Julie, hello. Jack, good to see you. Beloved Abstract. David Castle, hello, sir. Much love to you. Jules, what's up? Jasna, good to see you. So what else is happening? Hello, Sharon. What's up, Shannon? See you as well. Twilight Traveler, Regina, Goddess Aboriginal. I like that. That's cool. Hey, Marsha. Yeah, we were talking earlier. This is not the time to be silent. Well, you know, uh, in balancing everything. Hey, Lost in Space. What's up there, my friend? Um, Sometimes you just have to color within the lines. That's all I'll say. But unlike others, we do have a great other format. So if you didn't listen last night, check it out. You can get it on replay on demand. Yeah, it's the Twilight Zone, man. I'm telling you. Uh, we ain't in Kansas anymore, Toto. I mean, something has happened. And I'm not so sure it's for the better. Hey, Bernadette, what's up? Isby, hello. Good to see you. What else is happening? Oh, let's see. I got some things to go over tonight over on the Andromeda 7 Celestial Portal. They got the expo going on. So I think that starts, I don't know. I don't know if it's 7 my time, which is mountain time, which I guess that would make it 9 East Coast. So there you go. Hey, Martin, Heidi, what's up? Good to see y'all. Sending you a favor. Much love to you both. Woke Dealer, hello, hello. Brittany, good to see you. D Unknown, yeah, follow the yellow brick road. Indeed. If that ain't an acid trip, I don't know what is. Hey, Mad Cow Perkins, what's up? Good to see you. However, if any of you have ever visited Newport Beach, there was a time when I was there quite a bit. Anyway, you can rent these segways and just it's a delightful community. You can go see John Wayne's house and another, but then they have the two. It's no, excuse me, it's one street, and it's where all the little people lived when they were filming The Wizard of Oz, and the houses are quite unique. It's all a matter of perspective of what you find out. Hey, Wendy, what's up? Good to see you. 09, Katu. Barbara DeLong, how are you doing, honey? Got you on my list for an email. Going to get you on. Like to get you on with Trina. I think it would be a delightful conversation. So let's see if we can get that one going on a Tuesday. It would be a Tuesday. Wouldn't have to be this one, but a next one. Anyway, see, this great medium, and it is a medium. We just communicated. Hey, Big Al, I hear you and Perry are in Colorado heading to Hot Atlanta. Speaking protection in favor over you both. Absolutely. Much love to you both. Amy, good to see you. What's up? Ba, 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 do, 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 do. So, Reuben of the Moon, good to see you. It's the small things. It is. It is. It is literally the small things. All of us are made up of very small things called atoms, molecules, electrons, neutrons, positrons. I mean, yeah. They say we're made up of this. Now, this is the third strand that I believe was genetically removed from us. This is one form of the mark of the beast, is our current structure of our DNA, because we all carry that mark in us. And the mark is the mark of the DNA. There is a new mark now. And it's interesting because it's altering this DNA. You see, I think Ascension, the graduation award, is we're giving back our third strand. That then reunites us as true triune beings. Right now, we are separated from that which we once were, and we desperately seek that missing tribe, that missing strand. Living Above, good to see you. Just my hypothesis, although I think it's a good one, isn't it? So, hey, Divine Interest, Impress, good to see you. AK Morning Star, greetings. So, peace, yes. I don't know. So, think about it. Could it be that that is the thing that we all seek? Oh, I love the iced tea. It's a hot one here today. So I was thinking of my friend Brian, our friend Brian. One of the things that I was teaching him on, sent this book and a number of books to him. If you don't have this book, it's really, I believe I got this on PDF as well. You should be very familiar with Henry Cornelius Agrippa's work, and specifically in Hermetics. Going through this again, these are great reference books. I mean, it's like visiting with an old friend, and you go back, and this is really alchemy. It's about alchemy. It's about the practice. It's about the mental preparation for a true chemist. And it's interesting. My wife and I, and everyone knows that Lynn's been in as a nurse for a very long time, and she has seen it all. And when we were discussing, because she always likes to know what these shows are, and I said, it's interesting. I said, we discovered today, this would be yesterday, that alchemy is not this hoodoo voodoo spooky stuff. That, hey, Crystal Shaman, good to see you, love. That Deborah Sloan, hello. It's amazing how they fooled us, how they blinded us. And she said, well, how? I said, because, honey, today, Big Pharma rules the world. I mean, 7 out of 10 American adults are on a prescription drug. And she says, okay. I said, well, alchemists really is pharmacist. And she got it. She says, yep, you're right. And then we were talking about the chemical compounds. And if you look at the baseline of all chemical compounds, it's salt, a former derivative of salt. I think it was Teresa that was saying in the chat room yesterday, is that it's crystalline. And again, as I was telling her, we know, for instance, you can give a person who is exhibiting signs of schizophrenia, manic depression, etc. You can give them antipsychotics. psychotic drugs. And yes, she is. Yep. Yes, she is. Hello, cowboy. So giving them antipsychotic drugs, and if you read the key chemicals in it, I said, honey, that is basically a manual to what you could say literally is a spiritual entity. It would be basically that spiritual entity's fingerprint, so to speak. I said, because when you give them these drugs, and all drugs have an impact on us, to some to a greater degree, some to a lesser degree. And I said, what does it do? Well, she knows, she deals in that area. And she says, well, the thing it does, it makes them docile. Isn't it interesting? And when they become docile, they become more manageable. And there are times where fluidity and clarity combined, and it's the person who they say, or family, who once was. So it's real interesting to see how the pharmaceutical industry basically rules the world. Now, it's really interesting. In my Christian studies, in going to Bible school and the decades and decades and decades of other studying, the Apostle Paul, no, let's see. Yeah, it was the Apostle Paul said that in the last days, if he was speaking of the current era, he said that the people will be ruled by the Greek word, which is pharmaceutica, which is where we get the word pharmaceutical from. He said that man would be ruled by chemistry, drugs. Don't know, pick and choose as you like to is the only thing I got to say, because we're obviously living in it and it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's quite interesting, this whole study. So, I'm just reading. Soul Frequency says salt is the main ingredient in carpet cleaning powder solutions too. Interesting. Hello, Suzanne. Good to see you. It's everywhere, isn't it? And Lynn and I just kind of chuckled, and she says, this is the kind of stuff that she thinks about when she carries, because she sees it through another perspective, a different lens. And she says, you're right. It's everywhere. Who'd have thought, huh? And then when you get into this spiritual alchemy, the spiritual chemistry, and then you begin to connect the dots. Okay, spiritual alchemy is really spiritual chemistry. So implying that even the spirit itself and the spirit realm is impacted by the molecule structure that is brought in by what we call chemistry. Now that really is interesting, because we can connect another dot. So if you're going to go out partying on the town, the legal drug of the world is dominated by an archon that has dominated the world for a very long time, and its kingdom has been well established and is well respected by the other spiritual archons, entities, and that is alcohol. In the distillation process, as we studied yesterday, and we're going to get into it now, is that we found out that it's through this distillation process that the alchemy really begins to take place. And in this case, through the fermentation, through using the structure of primarily yeast and sugar, that we get this thing called spirits, alcohol. And boy, we have a plethora of choices when it comes to alcohol. You have the heading of what they call light alcohol, 3.2 beer, right? Then you've got to the other extreme, Everclear, which is basically 190 proof. You can literally use it as a fuel source. And then the gap is filled in. You can have your vodka, you can have your whiskey, your scotch, you can have, tequila, whatever it is. And it's interesting because each different type of alcohol will have a different effect on you. And then if you're a real idiot, you combine things, and then you're going to be praying to the porcelain toilet. And all of us have experienced that. Well, I would say the great percentage of us have. We've all been to that kingdom, and we've all paid homage, hugging onto that porcelain throne. And that porcelain throne was the altar of our mistake. So it's interesting. And now today, as we continue to move in whatever direction we're going in, today the world has, well, let me step back. So we have alcohol, but there is yet another one which is used in a natural chemistry using the same process called distillation, right? Distilling, just in a different form, caffeine. In fact, it is the world's most preferred drug, caffeine. It's everywhere. And then we now come to where we are today in this era of enlightenment, to where cannabis is now being accepted by society and becoming much more of the social norm. And cannabis, in its complexity, which the United States government holds the primary patent to cannabis, particularly in the medical area, is remarkable as well. It has healing properties. It has, the kind of the psychosom, effect, the THC. And it's remarkable in its effect. And the baseline here is still all alchemy. It's all chemical. It's all pharmaceutical. And when we begin to look at it in that light, we begin to become much more aware. We walk in a darkened world with a much more enlightened set of eyes. And it begins to look at the food that we eat. You see, when we begin to talk about genetically modified organisms, GMOs, it's everywhere. Now you have fake meat, which is again alchemy in action here. And alchemy is neither good nor bad. It's indifferent. It's a tool. It's a process. It's a method. And like any of those, they can be misused or they can be used. So I just thought that would be interesting because it's all around us. And it really goes to show how much of a magical realm we really are in. We are so blinded. I'm telling you, got a piece that I was watching on demand. And over in Indonesia, they have these things called tulpa. It's T-U-L, T-U-V-L-P-A, I think, or P-O, the tulpa. And holy shit, folks. I mean, they can only be seen through a camera. And there was 3 young men that were sitting on this young man's parents' front porch. And one of them was playing a guitar. And as the young man had the video camera, he was filming them because they were going to post it on YouTube. But as he was filming, something came into frame over on the right side of the frame. And as he pointed the camera over there, there was this creature. It was not human, a cryptid. They call these Tupo spirits. These spirits are under the command of their master, a human. And what was so freaky about this, he was clearly showing that this was in the camera. The two young guys sitting where he was filming, they didn't see a thing. And he's telling them, it's right next to you. And when this damn thing moved, it moved like a frog, definitely reptilian. And he's freaking out because this creature goes right by these two young men. They're not even aware of it. And he's saying, it's right next to you. And then this Tulfal moves around. And as he points the camera, this thing's coming right up to him, into his face, right into the camera lens. And he's freaking out. Rightfully so. It was an honest response. And then this creature literally just climbed down the other side of this concrete wall. And it just goes to show that we're also blinded. Me as well. I mean, I know that I am walking in the midst of space, time, and that there is no wasted space. In this realm, in this planet, with this energy, life abounds. And it's just not this corporeal life. There is other life forms that live in other frequencies, and they're right next to us. Anyway, I love this stuff, man. If you want to come on and talk about it, let me know, because this is a subject that we can only get deeper in. So let's rock and roll. By the way, I want to give a thank you to Justin. Justin went out and found the book that I was reading on Kindle. So if you want it, because we're going to get referenced right back into it, we're going to read chapter 2. It is on PDF. So I think that's pretty far out. So thank you, Justin. Appreciate that. Adam, thank you as well. You sent a document that we're going to get into, the Quiet War. Yeah. All right. So let's just kind of pick up, because I just love this stuff. It's just so cool. All right. So we're here, and this is actually the PDF. So showed you Agrippa's work. You should become familiar with that work. Would you agree with me, David Barry? I mean, Brian and I would get together and we would discuss particularly that work. And it all leads to where we are right now. So the theory of alchemy, the first law of hermetics, all is from the one. So allow me to get this a little bit larger. There we go. Thank you. All right. Perhaps the most concise exposition of alchemical theory acknowledged by adepts from all ages is the famous emerald tablets of Hermes Trismegistus. Legend has it that this tablet predates the biblical flood and was inscribed by Thoth himself on a large plate of alchemical produced emerald. Did a little research, by the way, I'm going to be including this, about this alchemical gold. Come to find out, folks, this was real. This was happening. There are stories of adepts who really became masters in the alchemical process that could actually turn other metals into gold. The problem was that the reason why it was called alchemical gold is that it eventually turned back, which is a real bummer. Verbra sectorum hermitis. It is true, certain, and without falsehood, that whatever is below is like that which is above, and that which is above is like that which is below, to accomplish the one wonderful work. As all things are derived from the one only thing, by the will and by the word of the one only one who created it in his mind. So all things owe their existence to this unity by the order of nature and can be empowered by adaptation to that mind. Its father is the sun, its mother is the moon. The wind carries in its womb, and it is nurse, and its nurse is the earth. This thing is the father of all perfect things in the world. Its power is most perfect when it has again been changed into earth. Separate the earth from the fire, the subtle from the gross. Be carefully and with great judgment and skill. It ascends from earth to heaven and descends again, newborn to the earth, taking unto itself thereby the power of the above and the below. Thus the splendor of the whole world will be thine, and all darkness shall flee from thee. This is the strongest of all powers, the force of all forces, for it overcometh all subtle things, and can penetrate all that is solid. For thus was the world created, and rare in combinations and wonders of many kinds are wrought. Hence, I am called Hermes, Trismegistus, having mastered the three parts of the wisdom of the whole world. What I have to say about the masterpiece of the alchemical art, the solar work, is now ended. In my meditation travels, I seek out these energies like this. I mean, if Hermes existed, I do believe he did, what a cat to sit down with, right? I don't know if you could have a simple conversation, but I have found that the wisest of our kind does have the ability to bridge from one degree to the next. What have you found out? The alchemists always admonish their students. Know the theory first before attempting the praxis. They say, you must walk in the book of nature to understand our art. We've done this. This channel has probably done more in this area, and there's others out there. But I'm honored that the Force used this channel to bring forth knowledge that I would give anything for 40 years ago if I had just known. But, you know, I got pulled into the pulpit and began to live my life to the script, which were nothing more than overtures of my imprisonment. But I digress. The alchemy concept of life and matter lies at the opposite pole of that of the current scientific community. Science is trying to find out how matter created life. Alchemy states that life created matter. Alchemy affirms that at the origin, there is consciousness. Consciousness is the need to be of the absolute. In order to satisfy this need, consciousness created life. And in order to evolve, life created matter. Jean Dubas, The Pond Seminars, 1992. Alchemy is an exploration of the involution of the absolute into matter and its subsequent evolution back to the source, the Orberus. There's a very old saying, all is mind and the universe is mental. It's the first law of hermetics. Everything is mental. Everything. Everything is reconcilable. We'll get into that. If you don't know the 7 principles, you should get them. Learn them. The all, or the one, is that which is the fundamental truth, the substantial reality, i.e., standing under and supporting reality. Isn't that an interesting term? All this is beyond comprehending or the ability to truly name it. So we use a symbol and call it the all, the absolute, the divine, spirit, the force, the one, only one. Whatever you choose, it is a symbol so we can talk about it. This perhaps is the best description of the infinite living mind. You know, to be quite frank, the all could be Frank. That could be its name, Frank. Could be Miriam. It's all those things. The infinite living mind. Folks, that's what you and I are. We are living minds. If all is connected to the all, then it says that none of us had a beginning. None of us are going to have an end. It would be impossible to have an end. That would mean the whole construct of the whole universe would collapse. That's why there's neither heaven nor hell. Both of those are finite destinations. You are infinite. And the thing about when you see infant, finite, to infinity, is that the finite cannot hold the infinite. It doesn't have the capacity. Think about that. Only by mental creation can the all manifest the universe and still remain the all. For if a substance was used or acted upon, it would be separate, and the all would not be the all. That's the Kabbalion. Did a whole series on it. And as I have said to you so many times, why faith is so important is that faith is created out of this substance. It's the same substance that fear is created. It's like the stem cells. They're completely adaptable. What we call matter is only that portion of the all we apprehend through our senses. It is only a label we use to designate the manifestation of the all within the range of our limited sensory apparatus. All things are connected but separated only by their rates of vibration. Each one of us is a unique and complex waveform. Though we share many of the same harmonics, like fingerprints, we are unique, but all related. Modern science takes advantage of this fact in order to identify materials by their vibratory nature in the form of spectral resonance in light, visible light, infrared, microwaves, etc. Einstein once said, "Everything is energy. Beyond that is divine." We live in a vast ocean of energy, and everything seen and unseen is a part of it. The alchemists called this energy the celestial fire, prima matera, the first matter, chaos, and many others. Everything around us, though it seems separate and different from ourselves, is one, only one. All is from one is the first law of hermetics. The second law of hermetics is polarity. One reflecting on itself creates the first movement towards polarity. The division of the one into a most suitable spiritualized energy and dense material energy. That's the great thing. We're a combination of this. Oh, man, if you meditate, you can see it. It's the one divided into spirit and matter. Today, we might call this energy and matter, which are the same. The second law of hermetics is the law of polarity. One of the earliest observations of nature was that everything has its opposite: day, night, male, female, hot, cold, wet, dry. The one divides into active and passive modes, with the active energy constituting the energies of life, and the passive one the energy of matter. Consider the image of a sine wave, two opposite energies, but one wave. The Golden Chain of Homer, a book written about 1730 and highly esteemed by several generations of alchemists, called the active energy the celestial niter, and the passive energy the celestial salt. We call these the volatile and the fixed. These two modes of the one expressed an inherent polarity as well. And here is the symbol. We know the yin and the yang. So here's the prime material, the celestial salt, the celestial niter, and how each one breaks down into its elementals and further breaks down into what I call their baselines. The four elements, the energy of life, the niter, operates through the elements of fire and air. Both are active in nature, but fire is the more active of the two. These are the volatile energies. The energy of matter, salt, operates through the elements of water and earth. These are the fixed energies, water being the more active of the two. These elements have nothing to do with the material bodies of the same name. They are, in fact, energetic states, each with their own unique characteristics. As early as 500 BCE, the ancients called these the four elements and recognized them as the essential qualities by which nature operates and is formed. The element of fire relates to the qualities of radiance, expansion, warmth, and light, anciently known as the hot and dry properties. On the psychological level, fire relates to the superconscious mind. The element of air is penetrating, diffused, movable, the wet and hot properties. Psychologically, air represents the self-conscious mind. The element of water relates to the coolness, contraction, mutability, or change. The properties of wet and cold. Water is the perfect representative of the subconscious mind. The element of earth relates to the qualities of stability, rest, inertia, strength, and solidity. The dry and the cold properties. In the human economy, this is the physical body. You know, that would make a really cool shirt. You have to admit, I like that. It doesn't that just draw you into it? You're going, yeah, I can see that perfectly. Aristotle's Elements. Modern science agrees that there are four fundamental forces governing the activity of everything in our universe. And through them, and though they call them strong nuclear force, weak nuclear force, electromagnetic force, and gravitational force, they are related to an ancient elemental qualities of fire, water, air, and earth, respectively. Interesting, isn't it? It's just a matter if you know the code, the word. It's like, okay, these elemental qualities and their mixtures form the vehicle through which the alchemical state of three essentials operate. They are the clothing which we interpret as our physical reality. The three essentials. The three essentials are the alchemical principles of sulfur, mercury, and salt. Again, these terms are not the common materials we associate with these words, such as table salt or the mercury in your thermometer. They describe subtle philosophical principles active in nature. Alchemical salt, or the body of a thing, provides the matrix within the sulfur and the mercury can act. It is a passive medium, the virgin earth, subject to the fixed energies of water and earth. The salt is influenced by psychic and institutional forces of the subconscious as well as conditions affecting the various states of matter. The alchemical sulfur, or soul of a thing, conducts the volatile principles of fire and air, expressing consciousness, intellect, and the true will, or personal fire. Alchemical mercury, or the spirit of a thing, is the vital force or life force and predominates in the elements of air and water, reflecting intellect, instinctual, and psychic energies. It forms a link or bridge between the higher force of sulfur and the lower body of matter. The salt, in mythology, Mercury is the messenger between the worlds of the gods and the worlds of the mortals, the physical world. The energies of the celestial niter are often equated with the forces of the Kundalini, or the spiritual forces of Indian philosophy. In alchemy, this is referred to as the secret fire in man. The energies of celestial salt are equated with the forces of prana, or vital energy carried by the air we breathe. Prana is said to maintain physical life and existence. It acts at the instinctual and unconscious levels, as well as being influenced by cosmic cycles and other natural phenomena. The function of the Kundalini, the niter, is to increase in humanity itself of true self and true will by opening us to wider vistas of awareness. At the lowest level of functioning, this is the self-centered ego. At its highest, we become aware of our divine nature. The effects of awakening to this secret fire within constitutes a true initiation into nature's mysteries with attended changes in our perception and how nature works. This is a direct experience of liberating interior knowledge. The physical body is also changed and improved in functioning, constituting a genuine rebirth on spiritual and physical levels. Brings a whole different meaning to being born again, doesn't it? And that's really what happens to us. You know, we're in what I contend, and you know, your philosophy may be different, that this is the realm of the dead. It's an interesting place. I realize that most people call and perceive this as a very unique place, and it is, but it's still a place of decay. In my perception and in my understanding is that if you're going to be in the realm of the living never die. It's an oxymoron to say that you're in the realm of the living, but yet you die, implying that somehow you're going over to the region of the dead. But isn't it odd that the region of the dead seems to be the place of the everlasting living? Maybe in a different constituted form of matter. But any way you look at it, and the realm of the dead, this realm of death, has a lot of lessons to teach us. There are the true gods in this realm. They never reveal themselves. We wouldn't recognize them if they did, but yet their DNA is everywhere. And this is where alchemy, for me, really comes in, the whole reason for the occult. I've seen what the other side does with the occult knowledge. Quite frankly, that's just another form of slavery. And rather, regardless if I'd be right or I'd be wrong, I refuse to bend my knee to another spirit if I am truly a spirit being. I don't bow to myself. All right, that was commentary by, but it's true. Also, another point, many people write me and ask about initiation processes. This is it. If you want to be truly initiated, if you have made that journey of the dark night of the soul, and you've emerged, many of us have here, you are an initiate. You are, by all definitions, an adept. Welcome. We continue to learn. The alchemical process seeks to fan this fire carefully, with great judgment and skill. In laboratory alchemy, the three essentials of body, soul, and spirit are most important because they provide us a means of manipulating the elements. Many alchemists indicate that the primal elements are too subtle, even for the most skilled artist, and that only nature can work at that level. The three essentials are the fruit of the elements, which man can manipulate even at the physical level. And I really like this on the point, you know, this is not spell casting. This is not, you know, in the true sense, I guess, of the word conjuring. What we truly are artisans. Now, many of us, I don't believe, will ever reach the master level until probably millions of years down the road. But I do believe we will reach that. And if we can become masters of manipulating the physical elements, these elements on the physical level, and many of us do that already, you can see how far advanced we really are, not even realizing it. As the Polish alchemist Michael Sendovogius wrote in his New Chemical Light about 1600, the three principles of things are produced out of the four elements in the following manner. Nature, whose power is in her obedience to the will of God, ordained from the very beginning, and that the four elements should insistently act on one another. So, in obedience to her behest, the fire began to act on air and produce sulfur. Air acted on water and produced mercury. Water, by its actions on earth, produced salt. Earth alone, have nothing to act upon, did not produce anything, but became the nurse or the womb of these three principles. In summary, then, the salt represents the body or vehicle, which allows expression to the other two essentials. It is a principle of fixity, consolidation, and focus. The material basis or matrix, the sulfur, represents the soul, the consciousness. It is a fiery principle, brightness, the spiritualized male aspect of one kundalini, the character of a thing, the true colors, the intelligence, the divine spark. Mercury represents the spirit, the vital life force, the animating spirit, the chi, the prana. It is a subtle, spiritualized, feminine aspect of the one, pure energy. It bridges the air and water elements, the spiritual world and the material world, the volatile and the fixed. It is the sulfur, the consciousness, which directs the life force through the body. Directing more of the life force through more refined bodies or vehicles is the course of nature and evolution. Alchemical work strives to create and fortify the incorruptible spiritual body of which the physical body is the reflection. And then I think we're going to break off there. We come in next into this reading, which will be the three kingdoms, the vegetable, animal, and material. And I don't know about you. Let me know. I get your feedback. Tell me what you think. Do you like it? For me, it's knowledge. I know some people aren't really into knowledge. I can dig that. But hey, this is the basics. And it certainly allows for a more lively discussion. I can't wait until, again, we start experimenting with this. And again, you may know this. That's cool. Nothing wrong with ever taking a refresher course. It helps. But if we can begin to see where we are spiritually in the alchemical process, wow. And again, there are many of us in this group that are conduits. Thank you, Martin Heidi. It is good stuff, isn't it? I mean, this is class. I'm learning just like you are learning. It allows us to learn together, combining this experience of learning something fresh and new as a group. I mean, this is alchemy in pure action. And the elements are they're definitely working on this thing. So Big Al, thank you, buddy. You're the greatest, man. It's true. Yeah, David Barry was saying I've read him. He's read the Emerald Tablets literally dozens of times, but you glean more knowledge every time. It seems like those books, David, and I agree with you. It's the same effect is with, when I find deep books in the occult, particularly ones that really get into the spiritual aspect of it, I go back and I reread it again and I go, wow, I missed that. How did that happen? It's like almost that, we see what we're ready to actually see is, I think, where I'm at on that. So, all right. We'll pick up on Monday. We're going to continue on this. We're going to be diligent on this. We're going to go all the way through this. And I guarantee you at the end, at least a few of us will be a lot smarter. I'm not saying I am going to be one of them, but at least someone out there will be. We will all gain in knowledge, and that's the cool thing. And I think that makes the creator of all things really happy. Let me ask you something. In your meditation, when you approach the all, and yes, there is an original, how many times have you said to it, I'd like to speak favor over you today? How many times have you asked the all, how are you feeling? How's things going? A little help with interpretation helps. That's so true, Teresa. It is. Well, what my point is, try speaking favor to the one who is responsible for all this. I figure it's like this. It may not be a solid personification of a personality, but I got a sense that it created feelings, that it must have feelings as well. And that if it is truly of a high intelligence, then empathy would be its primary character. And if it can have empathy, that means I can have empathy back. And I always like speaking favor to the spirits that surround me. I speak spirit all the time in their life. My dad, who very recently passed over, I speak favor to him all the time. I know because he needs the protection. Did it a long while for Brian. I still, when I think of Brian, but Brian is growing. He's advancing on that. So just think about that. They'll appreciate that. And remember, all of us are on the journey to go over there. Wouldn't it be nice to meet a welcoming committee that's not there with pitchforks, but are going, hey, man, that's the dude that gave me favor, man. I'm just saying. That's all I'm just saying. All right, folks, have yourself a fabulous Saturday and Sunday. Make it the strong end of the week for you. And we'll come together here on Monday and pick up right where we got left off. Tonight, go over to Andromeda 7. They got their expo going on. And Big Al, you and Perry, keep safe. Speaking protection over y'all. Tomorrow night on the Milky Way Soul Tribe with Robert V. And I believe Miss Trina will be there, I think. So check that out. I think it's 10 p.m. Eastern. So favor to all of us. Well, Jasna, thank you. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Wow, y'all are just a groovy group. All right. Much love to you all. We'll see you on Monday. All right. And thank you. Appreciated everything for everything. This is fun. It really is.